All right, Math 1, this is your homework help video for Monday on literal equations. Remember that a literal equation or equations are equations that have more than one um, variable. So literal equations are equations that have more than one variable. Are equations that have more than one variable. Okay, so it's equations that have more than one variable. All right. Um, so in order to solve a literal equation, what you do is you isolate the variable that you are looking for by using inverse operations. So let's do the first one. Okay, so you're solving for W. So what that means is you got to get W by itself. So in order to get W by itself, you got to get rid of the L. The L is attached to W by multiplication. So then what's the inverse of multiplication? Division. So you're going to divide both sides by the L to get W by itself. L divided by L is 1. So you're left with 1 W here or just W. So W is equal to A divided by L. Okay, this is what W is equal to. All right, and you're going to do the same thing for number 2. Let's look at a different kind of problem. Let's look at problem number 3, okay? So with problem number 3, we're solving for H. That means we need to get H by itself. Okay, look at all this over here that's attached to H. You got to get rid of all of this. This is all attached by multiplication. The opposite of multiplication is division. So divide all of it. No need to do it separately because it's all multiplication, right? So you're going to divide both sides by 2 pi r squared. Okay, when you divide both sides by 2 pi r squared, that gives you 1. 2 goes into 2 one time. Pi goes into pi one time. R squared divided by r squared goes in one time. Okay, so on this side, you got V divided by 2 pi r squared is equal to, this is gone, and you're left with H. So that is what H is equal to. Very similar to what's on this side here as well. Okay. All right, let's look at another one. Let's look at number 7. Okay, so we want to get 7. We want to get M by itself. Okay, so in order, oh, that one's easy too. In order to get M by itself, this multiplication, so you're going to divide to get rid of that. Let's look at one that's a little different. Okay, let's look at one like this one, number 10. So in order to get Z by itself, you need to get rid of this first. This is this is attached to this by multiplication. So we're going to divide to get rid of the x. So I'm going to divide. So now I have y divided by x is equal to, write down the equal, and this is gone. And we're left with 3 minus yz. Okay, just bring down what's in the parentheses. Now we're going to get rid of, we're going to get z by itself, just get rid of the positive 3 first. So subtract 3 on both sides. So this gives you y divided by x minus 3. Bring down the equal, and you're left with negative yz. Okay? So now you're going to get rid of the negative y by dividing both sides by a negative y. So when you divide this side by a negative y, you're going to get divided by a negative y. Okay? Bring down the equal, and you get z. Okay? So now you can divide if you want to. You can simplify this more by dividing both sides. If I divide y divided by a negative y, I'm going to do this out to the side and just do this separately. This is going to give me multiply by the reciprocal. Change this to multiplication, okay? And then the reciprocal of this, put this on the bottom. So this is 1 over a negative y. When you multiply straight across, this gives you y on the top, and this gives you yz on the bottom, or negative yz on the bottom. Okay? So now when you divide y divided by y, that's going to cancel this out. So what this is going to leave me with is a 1, negative 1 over z, because a positive divided by negative is going to make that a negative 1. So we have answer, this part right here is going to be negative 1 over z, okay? And then this side right here is going to be minus the 3, and we are dividing it by a negative y. A negative divided by a negative is going to make this positive. So this is what z is equal to. Okay? So here I just did this separately. When you divide, you have to divide this and you have to divide this. So I took and divided this out to the side first. Multiply by the reciprocal. And then when I divide this, that's going to change it to a positive. A negative divided by a negative is going to make that a positive. So this is my answer there. Okay, so that was a little bit different from the others, okay? All right, so remember, you're isolating the variable. Use math to do this. Use inverse operation to get the variables by itself. Do not forget your other principles of math. Like here, when you're dividing a fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal. I did a little bit one side at a time. If I divide everything. Okay, if I multiply, I multiply everything. When you add or subtract, you can only add or subtract terms that are alike. Okay. All right. So, at any rate, if you have more questions, please ask more questions. Practice, practice, practice will make improvement. All right, y'all. Have a good one. Bye.